and a happy good morning to you wherever you are. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by your favorite All-State agent, Marilyn Hildred. If it's insurance that you need, put this number down, 843-0811, and call Marilyn. Life insurance, automobile, boat, name it, and she has it. In the meantime, I do have a thank you note from Marilyn, in which she asked me to say thanks to all of you because you have made her the #1 All-State agent in the state of Oklahoma. Congratulations, Marilyn. Mr. Robert Gates of Gates Barbershop said, I'm cutting that hair today, and he can cut it. Mr. Robert Gates is located at 2609 North Martin Luther King Avenue in Oklahoma City. Mr. Gates and Mr. Gamble, what a combination of people that know exactly what to do in order to make you look like you're supposed to look, and you're supposed to look good. Be sure and stay tuned to the Clara Luper radio show, because today I will announce the 1994 Bachelor of the Year. You selected the bachelor. I told you to get someone that was handsome. I told you to get a bachelor that had a good job and could take care and afford to take care of a wife if he would so desire. I'm going to announce the Bachelor of the Year. I said he must have a reputation that's out of sight. He must be somebody, and you gave me the bachelor that you want for our Bachelor of the Year. Now, I know I'll be very popular for the next week because you young ladies that are looking, and certainly you can't catch no fish unless you go fishing. Those of you that are looking, you can look at this bachelor. You might have to give him a telephone call. I don't know. But one thing about it, and many of you out in radio know that I was in the marriage consultant business. I told you that my price was high. I would charge you $500 an hour, and that's not too bad. I told you that I could not guarantee you anything. I told you that. I made that clear. Well, I went out of business, and one reason that I went out of business, there were people like Reverend and Mrs. Parker, Willie B. Parker, who celebrated their 50th anniversary last week. That was an anniversary, sponsored by his 3 kids, Marva, Mary, and Winfred. That was some anniversary. 50 years of happiness. I'm talking about happiness. Reverend Parker was dressed in his tux, and his wife just looked like a fresh bride. People came from all directions. People that wished they could have been married for 50 years. People that had not been married for 5 years. Oh, they were there, and they were smiling. They said to Reverend and Mrs. Parker, I want you to have the best, and they have had the best, and certainly today, I'm being very serious. I would like to congratulate Reverend W.B. Parker and his beautiful wife. Congratulations to Reverend and Mrs. Parker comes from Dr. A.L. Dial, your optometrist, located at 934 Northeast 8th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Mr. and Mrs. Paul Matthews went on a sort of honeymoon during the holidays. They went to Houston. You know, they are the owners of the Johnson Chardina's Daycare Center, located at 1643 Northeast 50th Street, 424-4656. If you're talking about expert care, you are talking about Johnson Chardina's Daycare Center. I just returned from Dallas, Texas this morning at 6 a.m., but I had to be here today because I have some guests that are out of sight. No wonder you say that the Clara Luper radio show is one of the best shows in the world. And you are exactly right. When I tell you who's here today, you're going to jump for joy, because never in the history of any radio station in the state of Oklahoma have so many dignified. Oh, I cannot tell it, but anyway, it's going to really be exciting. And what is more exciting than knowing that your family can be taken care of at home? Did you know that Passion Home Health Care Incorporated, located at 3838 Northwest 36th Street, Suite 100, is available for you? If your parents or your friend is ill at home, they will come in and they will do the same thing that would have been done at any hospital. Yes, today is the day that we will announce the 94 Bachelor of the Year. Won't that be exciting? Call all of the widows that you know. Call all of those that are wishing. I wish I had somebody because today I'm going to announce the Bachelor of the Year. I'm not going to announce the first, second, and third runner-up because I've had some problems. Once the first runner-up finds out that he's on the list, he wants to go through the votes and see why he was not first. But you're not going to have that chance today. The NAACP Executive Committee will meet in Tulsa today at 11 o'clock, and I have asked Mrs. Mitchell to represent me at that meeting. Mr. Milton, who is a president of the NAACP, or is he the president because the election is being challenged? And Mr. Milton admitted, and this is really news, when a president says that I didn't do what was right. Mr. Milton said that he stopped the membership drive a day earlier than required by NAACP bylaws. And he justified it by saying it wouldn't have made any difference. And I don't think that Mr. Milton meant that because as leaders, we must follow the Constitution. Milton stated that some of his supporters was also kept from voting and pointed out some of the inequities that he saw. But he was a president, and when you're the president, you got to do like President Truman, say that if you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. Clara Luper was not an issue in this election, and I appreciate those of you that have realized that, but Clara Luper is free. I am free to vote for anybody I want to because you're talking about the Republicans. I can tell you one thing. The Republicans are in power, and it was one of the greatest political revolutions that we've seen since 1802. We haven't seen anything like it. It's a political revolution, and I have a friend that used to teach here in school who voted for a Republican governor in Tennessee, and he's now an administrative assistant making $85,000 a year. Go, Republicans, go. And one thing I'm going to tell you about the Republicans, you Republicans, we're going to be calling on you because you got to prove it. And if you can do what Franklin D. Roosevelt did, if you can move the majority votes into the Republican Party by producing something rather than talking. And so many of you have talked about welfare and cutting welfare. Well, I know one thing. I'm not willing to cut any welfare because I would like to get on welfare myself. I would like to get on welfare like Chrysler and other people. I would really love it. And speaking of that, I'm calling on all of you that are 65 years of age. I want you to get downtown and sign up for your $32. Now, I mean that because when you voted in 1993 for that MAP program, you also realized that you would get a refund. Now, I want you to go and get that refund. Don't let anybody stop you. And if you are sick, good. Call your friends and tell them to take you downtown and you go and sign up for that $32. Everybody that's over 65 years of age in Oklahoma can sign up for $32. And if I'm not correct, my son is going to come in here and correct me. This is a Clara Luper radio show, and this is a show that you will remember. You will remember because you were listening on the day when history was made, when we had as our distinguished guests some people that have made great, great contributions. Give me a free hand. 3838 Northwest 36th Street, Oklahoma City, 946-8928. If you don't feel like going shopping, they will go and take you shopping. What else can you ask for? Give me a free hand. Now, you're calling me to ask me where can you go get that free money. Go to City Hall. That's where you go. Walk in City Hall with your proud 65 and beyond self and say, I came here to sign up. And all you will have to do is to take a form of identification. Now, if your parents or grandparents are too sick or cannot go, all you need to do is to get a notarized statement stating that you are the guardian and you can sign up for them. And that money will be mailed to you. That's your money, and you need to get your money. Speaking of money, tonight is the night. Tonight is the night that we have all waited for, because tonight is a night that you will see them for yourselves in color. And let me let you in on a secret. The national president of that famous Tuskegee group is here in Oklahoma City, and you will hear from him along with Charles E. McGee, and then one of the most beautiful young ladies that you will ever want to see, Lieutenant Colonel Sandra Nance. But first, we're going to talk to the director, William H. Williams, Jr. William, where are you from?
Well, originally, I was from North Carolina, but now I'm an Oklahoma City resident, and I'm loving it.
How long have you been in Oklahoma City?
I've been here 3 years.
How did you get to Oklahoma City?
Well, the FAA is where I make my living, and I transferred here with them.
I really like FAA, but I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma. What does FAA stand for?
The Federal Aviation Administration.
And so you came here from North Carolina. Is that right?
Well, I was born in North Carolina, and, my career has taken me several places.
Yes, so when you came to Oklahoma City, where did you come from?
Los Angeles, California.
Los Angeles, California.
Yes.
You brought your family here.
Well, when I came here, I was single.
You were single when you came here. Well, isn't that something? And you married an Oklahoma City girl?
Well, I just got married, but she's not an Oklahoma City girl.
Well, where is she from? How dare you come to Oklahoma City and marry somebody that's not from Oklahoma City?
Okay, well, she's from Boston.
Isn't that something? Now, he's from Los Angeles, found a girl from Boston, and then moved to Oklahoma City. Mr. Williams, Jr., you are here today representing what?
Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated and the Charles B. Hall chapter, which is the local chapter here at Oklahoma City.
Why is it called the Charles B. Hall chapter?
Well, Charles B. Hall was a member of the famous group, and he was the very first to have a killed or down an enemy aircraft during World War II. That is black airman, and he has roots here in Oklahoma. As a matter of fact, he's serviced here at Tinker Air Force Base, and that's why we want someone connected with Oklahoma.
So the name of that group again is what?
Charles B. Hall.
All right, now I understand you are having an affair tonight. Is that correct?
That's correct. We're having our first annual gala event tonight, and we're looking forward to a great time.
Okay, when you say a great time, what do you mean?
Well, we'll have the usual dancing and music and food, but most importantly, we want to talk about what our chapter is doing, what the organization is about, and what we're trying to do in the community, and have people see what progress we've made in the last year. The chapter is very young. We got chartered in March of this year, and we have made some great strides in the community, and we want to be able to share that with the local people.
Are you saying that you have made great strides in Oklahoma City since March?
Yes.
How do you account for that?
Well, two things. We have a group of people who are working very, very hard, and there's a lot of energy and excitement in our group. But here in Oklahoma, it seems that people, they're just good people. And we found that working with the communities are very, very easy, and we've been able to just do some things we wanted to do.
How many people are you expecting at the dinner tonight?
We're expecting about 150 people at the dinner tonight, and we would love to have seen more, but like I said, we've only been working
150 people. I think at $100 a plate, I think that's outstanding.
Well, that's true, and we appreciate that. But we're constantly trying to do more and do better, because what we're doing and what we're about is being a force in the community and being able to help the community pull itself along.
Now, Mr. Williams, I understand that you are a director. Is that true?
That's correct.
What does that mean?
Basically, what that means is I'm one of the senior executives in the Federal Aviation Administration and the government as a whole, and I provide executive oversight for several major programs in the FAA that are worldwide in nature.
Oh, well, congratulations.
Thank you.
I would like for you to introduce to me the national president of that Tuskegee group.
Okay. Well, it's Mr. Bill Terry, and Mr. Terry is from Los Angeles, and he is our national president, and he agreed graciously to come down and spend the evening with us and some time with us, and we're just glad to have him, and Mr. Bill Terry.
Mr. Terry, welcome to Oklahoma City.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here, although it's a little bit chilly compared with my hometown. I've got a warm reception from all of the people, and I'm looking forward to tonight to get better acquainted with us.
Yeah, the first lesson that we should teach you as an outsider is a very simple lesson. Will Rogers did it far better than I. If you don't like the weather, just wait a minute. I do hope that you have that time. Now, Mr. Terry, you are the national president.
That's correct.
How did you get to be the national president?
Well, by guile, I guess, by luck, and by bad luck, I don't know. But I've been a member since 1972.
You do know how you became president. You must have had something to offer for them to elect you as president. I want to know, what did you have to offer?
Well, perseverance and the fact that I stayed alive this long. That's it, and a bit of dedication to the principles under which we were formed. We were formed to let the history of the participation by black people in aviation, let it be known to our children, our children's children, and to the world at large. We found out after 25 years or so after we had inaugurated black people in aviation that there was nothing in the history books which noted that we had passed by. We felt that this was a something that we had to make known to our people and to the people at large, that we did participate, that we are here, that we're able to do the things that were necessary to be in aviation. At the beginning, in 1925, I think it's way back there, they had a paper written that stated, it was an official paper by the United States Army Air Corps, that stated that Negroes were not able to fly because they were, number one, physically weren't able, number two, mentally weren't able, morally they weren't able, they just could not fly an airplane. And that went on until 1941, when we were finally given the chance under a program which was called the Tuskegee Experiment to see whether or not we could fly. And then at that time, even then, they did not think that we would be able to fly and to participate at a level which was necessary to be a combat flyer in aviation. The men that went forth and did this under segregated circumstances went forward despite all of the shortcomings that and all of the obstacles were put in the way by the official United States government, which is officially segregated at that time. They went forward and did their job in such a manner that today we are recognized as having been one of the better units in the Air Force. We have a record that nobody else can excel, a record that in escorting bombers over their targets in World War II, we never lost a bomber to an enemy fighter. Nobody else can say that.
Just a minute, Mr. President. Are you telling me that you, during World War II, you never lost a bomber?
That is true. That is true, and that's a matter of record. And also, we can also tell you that we were the only outfit to have shot down or to have sunk a destroyer with fighter planes alone and with machine guns alone. They didn't believe it then. They had to send divers down to see that it was a destroyer. And we were also...
Wait a minute now. You're taking me a little face. You are saying that you actually did what?
They sunk a destroyer with machine guns alone. And it sunk, and they didn't believe it. They didn't even believe the camera guns. They had to go down and look, and when they looked, they found out it was an Italian destroyer manned by Germans, and it was sunk. And they can't believe it to this day, but it was done. It's a matter of record. And we can also say, you see the jets flying over? Well, jets were just coming in. The first two jets ever shot down in the history of the world were shot down by black men.
Oh, just a minute now. You really have me. You are telling my radio audience that the first what?
Two jet planes, they were Messerschmitt 262s, were shot down by black pilots.
This is a Clara Luper radio show, and today's show is being brought to you by your favorite Allstate insurance agent, Marilyn Hildred. If it's insurance that you need, all you have to do is to call Marilyn 843-0811. I am talking to the president, President Roger C. Bill Terry, and he has just given me a shocker. Here I am, a history teacher, and didn't know that the first two jets Say that again for me.
The first 2 jets ever shot down in combat in the history of the world were shot down by black people. That means that we can destroy equally with anybody else.
All right. Now, these black pilots were trained at Tuskegee.
That's correct.
Tuskegee, Alabama, founded by Booker T. Washington. Is that correct?
That's right. The university was formed by him. It was called Tuskegee Institute at the time.
Right, located in Tuskegee, Alabama.
Tuskegee, Alabama, which means the meeting place.
The meeting place, yes,
right.
The meeting place. And that's where you all got together and decided that we are going to show the world. Now, you know one thing. White people have always been afraid of black people. They were afraid of them because history will teach you that, because I read somewhere that they would not allow slaves to read, because if you would start reading, you would become very dangerous. They were afraid. And I know they are afraid of me out there. Mm-hmm. They are afraid of Clara Luper. And the reason I know they are afraid was one night during the sit-ins, one of the richest women in Oklahoma City called me, who lived out in Nichols Hills, and she said to me, "Clara, I hear that you are getting ready to buy a home out here by me." I said, "You are right to give me your address." She gave me her address. And so I said, "Yes, I'm going to buy a home." I didn't tell her where, because, you know, I'm a Baptist and we can't afford to tell stories. So what I did the next morning, I got in my beautiful old-fashioned Chevrolet and drove out with my Camry to this big house. Boy, that's some house. It was up in the area in which Mrs. John A. Brown's lived. And I started shooting from every direction. White folks started coming out and shaking and nervous. I said, "What's wrong with these people?" Finally, one came over there and said, "Miss Luper, is it true you want to buy this house?" I said, "I'm looking at it to see if it comes up to my specification, because I might buy yours next door." "Please, Miss Luper, please, Miss Luper." And I went back home and I said, "These people must be crazy. How in the world do they think a school teacher like me could afford a loan to buy a house like that?" Well, anyway, this is a Clara Luper, and white folks didn't believe that we could read because they were afraid of us. And now a lot of them didn't believe that we could fly a plane. But my, oh, my, oh, my. Can't you see them 2 black men up in there? Bam, bam, bam. Can't you hear those jets? Oh, my, what a day. But tonight is going to be a big night, and you must be there because you will get to see the president. I'll be back with the president in just a minute. In the meantime, I want you to know that the Chi Zeta chapter of the Zeta Phi Beta sorority will be meeting at 10 o'clock at the McFarland Branch YWCA. The great revolution, the great political revolution has taken place. And when those Republicans go marching in, we are going to be there. Republicans, I want to tell you something. If you think we aren't going to be there, you just look up. The big inauguration ball is tonight. And those of you that have not bought your tickets for that ball, I think the tickets are $150, but that's nothing for you steppers. Those of you that don't go tonight, you can go tomorrow night or you can go Monday night, because Mr. Keaton is going to be our governor. Congratulations, Mr. Keaton, for being elected as governor of the state of Oklahoma. And one thing you can count on, we'll be out there to see you. Pull your coattail if you do anything wrong. I'm talking about an affair that will be held tonight. And I have with me, if it's anything I love better than the colonel in the United States Air Force, is a colonel. They are really on the ball. And I have a handsome colonel here. Oh, my gracious. And you are Colonel McGee?
Charles McGee.
Charles McGee, where are you from?
I hail right now from Kansas City, Missouri, although that wasn't my home originally. I'm a Buckeye, born in Ohio, but grew up in Illinois and Iowa. And after I got in the service, I quit counting where the many places I've been, which actually, if we add it all up, was a great number of states in our country and almost around the world.
Okay, yeah, you're a world traveler. Now, you're a colonel.
That's correct.
How did you get to be a colonel? How did you get to be a colonel?
Well, as we talk about the Tuskegee experience that Bill Terry introduced, I was one of those who stepped up because I wanted to take advantage of that opportunity and became a cadet at Tuskegee Army Airfield in Alabama and received my Army Air Corps wings and a commission as a second lieutenant in 1943. I was a member of Class 43F in that program. Went on in the 302nd Squadron to fight a combat tour in Europe where we flew P-39s, P-47s, and P-51s. I had come home before the In fact, it was a member of the squadron that I was in that sank that destroyer in the Trieste area of Italy. And then I had come home when the incident of shooting down the jets over Berlin took place, became a twin-engine instructor at Tuskegee Army Airfield, and I just enjoyed flying that I stayed in the service continuing to fly and moved on into Korea, and following that the jet age, and ended up staying in the Air Force for 30 years. It was Army Air Corps until 1948, and became then, when the Air Force became a separate service starting in 47, they said that we're going to do away under President Truman then, that we're going to do away with segregation, and we were spread around the world. They broke up Lockburn in 48 and 49, and spread us, if you will, around the world. But I loved the flying so much I stayed in, and fortunately with command and staff work, got the promotions that allowed me to retire mandatorily as a full colonel.
Is it true you are from Kansas City, Missouri?
That is my home. I had service assignments at Richards Gabar Air Base near Kansas City, Missouri, and including the assignment when my mandatory retirement came, and I just stayed there. We had a number of friends and active in community and social affairs, and so I think anywhere you go, just like you say, you got fine people here in Oklahoma. Probably had I been here at Tinker, I would have stayed here, because it's...
Oh, that's encouraging. Now, don't try to jive me.
No, it's the people.
Don't try to jive me, Mr. McGee. I was born on Bull Street, Helfer Avenue, ran to my back door. My telephone number is K-O-K-O. He's in Oklahoma tonight from Kansas City. Is it true? It's true that one of our prominent doctors in Kansas City was killed. Dr. Osborne, through an elevator accident.
I don't have that history, and it may very well be.
Right, they were looking at some old buildings up there, and he was on a committee.
that
was it Osborne?
It was a judge.
Judge,
who was
right?
killed.
It was
That's
judge.
correct.
That's right. Judge. One of our
Mm-hmm.
permanent judges that were
They
killed.
he was trying to inspect as a part of his determination of whether that building should be raised or not. It's been a problem because it stood unfinished and has deteriorated a lot, and had an unfortunate accident and didn't recover from the injuries he received when he fell in an elevator shaft.
Okay, I'm sorry, Doctor. It was a judge. Now, you have come to Oklahoma City just for this affair tonight.
By the invitation of the chapter here, the Charles B. Hall chapter, which is one of our newest chapter in Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated, and they have the honor to be chartered with the largest membership of any chapter, and they're challenging the total membership of a couple of our more senior chapters. But for this affair, as I am the national membership chairman, and in working with Mr. Williams and others here as they formed the organization, prepared for charter, I think they twisted my arm and said, "You've got to come to our first annual affair." But it's just a real pleasure to accept that invitation and be here with our national president, Bill Terry, to partake in the events of the evening, and we're looking forward to and hopefully the challenge that they've laid out to continue to grow, and so we're just pleased to be a part of it.
All right, we have people calling in, and certainly we would like to recognize all of you, and you will have the opportunity to call in your questions, and we'd be happy to pass them on to our visitors. Are you saying that Oklahoma City's chapter is larger than any chapter in the United States?
No, they're not. They're striving to. They say that's their goal, is to pass them up. But
okay, how can you become a member?
They were the largest chartered chapter. In other words, as they chartered, they had the highest number of any chapter as they chartered. Right. And they say they're challenging the others. But membership, as Bill said, we are an educational and charitable organization. Our goal is to keep the Tuskegee experience story before people, and secondarily to motivate young people in aviation aerospace career interests. So anyone who aspires to either of those goals or those goals of the national organization are welcome to become a part of it. and they can become a member. Anybody in the Oklahoma City area just needs
Anybody can become a member.
if they get in touch with Mr. Williams or his membership or members of his chapter, they'll have an application, be glad to furnish and tell you about what their goals are. And you don't have to be right here in Oklahoma City. Just be able to want to support the goals, and I'm sure they'll welcome your membership.
Well, I would certainly like to become a member, and I would have been a part of that charter group, but I was out of town. You don't discriminate because of race, do you?
No. Certainly not. Not a race, gender, sex. None of these things would keep you out at all. In fact, it's military, it's civilian, it's young, it's old in quotes because old is young, and whatever, just espouse and support the purposes of the Charles B. Hall chapter and Tuskegee Airmen Incorporated, the national body. The chapter here is one of 37 chapters now that we have developed across the country. At one time we had some chapters even overseas. They were primarily military chapters, however, and as people have been moved and so on, those chapters are not active at the present time. But we're still growing in areas, and membership is through a chapter. We do not at the present time have just an open national membership, so you can belong to any one of those 37 chapters, and I'm sure Mr. Williams would say Charles B. Hall chapter is the one you need.
Mr. Williams is smiling. Certainly, I appreciate your calling, 672-1220, and we will recognize all of your calls. I would rather have one little rose from the garden of a friend than to have the choicest flowers when my stay on earth must end. I would rather have a pleasant word and kindness say to me than flattery when my heart is still and life has ceased to be. So when you call me, and I thank you for calling Mrs. Sheila Taylor and others to tell me how much you are enjoying our show. And you're going to really enjoy this. I say sometimes, I guess, it's just something in us that we'd like to save the best for last. Now, let me tell you what, and I'm saying this in front of these three intelligent men, that in eating food, you always save your desserts to the last. And so, I'm happy today to present to you, for the first time in the history of Oklahoma, a beautiful, talented Lieutenant Colonel, the Honorable Sandra Nance. How are you, Your Honor?
Good morning. I'm just fine, thank you.
Well, I am so happy to welcome you to the Clara Luper radio show, because there are people out there, young people, that are listening who did not know that we had lieutenant colonels in the Air Force. Where are you from?
I'm from Fort Worth, Texas. I was born there and went to Dunbar, junior, senior high school, Dunbar Elementary, and then went on to Texas Tech University. And got my undergraduate degree at University of Texas at Arlington.
Okay, where were you when Texas Tech was playing on New Year's Day? I heard about that game because I had one of my children was playing on that. Children's children was playing on that team.
Well, my son and daughter-in-law graduated from Texas Tech a couple of years ago, so I was kind of nursing their wounds along with several other folks in my family who graduated from Tech.
Well, I don't mean to talk about Texas Tech, but I think it's a shame for anybody to let somebody beat them 58-0.
I think there was a score of 14.
I turned my television off before they got to 14.
However, I think the goal was at that time just to get to the Rose Bowl.
Oh,
the Cotton Bowl.
Okay, Cotton. I know Texas Tech was really confused on New Year's Day. But we didn't come here to talk about Texas Tech. You live here in Oklahoma City now.
I live here in Oklahoma City. I've been here since 1992. My husband and I both are in the Air Force. We're both lieutenant colonels.
Both lieutenant colonels?
Both lieutenant
How do
colonels.
you address each other?
Honey.
Oh, well, that's really good. Honey, yes.
But on the job, we're very professional, and we address each other as Colonel or Lieutenant Colonel.
Why did you get in the Air Force?
Well, I don't know. There was just something inside me that made me want to come into the Air Force. Initially, when I was in college, I wanted to go through ROTC, but at the time, there was only an Army ROTC, and I did not want to go that route. Later on, after graduating and getting married, my husband came into the Air Force. And after being a housewife for about a year, I thought, this is for the birds, and I decided to join.
Well, you're on my program on a day that I'm presenting a Bachelor of the Year, and I would like to ask you a question, which certainly is not my business, but my business is to ask questions. Why did you marry your husband?
First of all, I married him because he was a Christian man. The morals and standards that he had was what I saw my father. And he's kind, gentle. He's a good father, a good husband.
Did you love him?
I love him with all my heart.
Okay, you love him with all your heart. Now, let's talk about tonight. Will you be there tonight?
I will be there tonight. And it's really an honor for me to be there because when we first started talking about having a chapter in Oklahoma, I worked on that steering group as the vice president. And for approximately 4 months, we went through a lot of hard work to get this started. And one of the other reasons I'm so very happy and proud to be there is because I attribute the successes of the original experiment to my success in the United States Air Force. So it's just a lot of things that make me happy about being there.
Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Clara Luper radio show, and this part of the show is brought to you by Johnson Sardina's Daycare Center. If you are looking for somewhere where your child can receive an education, I recommend Johnson Sardina's Daycare Center. Located at 1643 Northeast 50th Street here in Oklahoma City. The telephone number is 4244656. That's 1643 Northeast 50th Street in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Hometown IGA would like to thank you for your business. You have been with Hometown, and Hometown says thanks. And to all of you that received chitlins, I think I gave away more chitlins during the month of December than anybody in the United States. I gave away so many chitlins, it was not even funny. And those of you that have called me and thanked me for the chitlins, I just want to thank you for thanking me for the chitlins. Now, chitlins are good. There are a lot of people that come up and they say that black people aren't smart. I can tell you one thing. We were smart enough during the dark days of slavery when the master gave us the guts. We took those guts down to the lakes and the rivers and washed those guts out and gave to the world chitlins. And the last time I was in New York, I was insulted because I went down in Harlem, ordered some chitlins, and those chitlins were $17 a plate. And all at once, I decided I would come back to Oklahoma and cook my own chitlins. Thank you for shopping at Hometown IGA in Oklahoma City, Oklahoma. Edwards Redeemer would like to take this opportunity to thank all of you. Edwards Redeemer is located at 1530 Northeast Grand Boulevard. The telephone number is 424-2273. I would like to thank all of you, certainly, for everything. I just like to thank people because I'm from Hoffman, Oklahoma, and it's one thing my parents had no education, per se, no college degrees. They taught us to be grateful. Be grateful because people don't have to do anything for you. On last Saturday, when I left here, I was involved in a car accident. In fact, I was going east between Northeast 50. No, I was between Kelly and Everett. And a gentleman was kind enough to run across the street with his car, big Pontiac, and hit me and tore my Chrysler up. I have never seen anything like it. And that gentleman started crying, and he said, "Oh, I didn't know this was Miss Luper. Miss Luper, I wouldn't have hit you for anything." But the fact was that my beautiful Chrysler was just torn up on the left side. And how he got over there's a miracle, and there are many stories. But people start stopping. I didn't know I had so many friends. I'm telling you, and every time one of my friends stopped, and within 10 minutes, 40 had stopped. And this young man started crying to them, "Don't blame me. I wouldn't have hit Miss Luper for nothing." But anyway, we understand. But speaking of understanding, I would like to thank you that have called me and was very concerned about my health. But it's really something that's interesting. Shelley and I walked out of that car without a scar or anything. And you talking about somebody that's grateful. I'm so grateful. When I left Shelley last night, we were all down in Dallas with her. When I left her, she said, Mama, be sure and thank all of those people that were so concerned about us, that stopped, and people that have called. I want you to know how much I appreciate it. And I say, you are right, Shelley. Thank you for your calls. Thank you for your understanding. And thank you for your flowers that you sent to me. I love it. Give me my flowers while I live. Because when I die, I don't want you resolving nothing. Don't come resolving to remember Clara Luper. You resolve to participate and help young people. Resolve to go to this banquet tonight. And you talking about $100, that's nothing for you. You are able to make $100, and you are making it because you are standing on the backs of those courageous men that went through segregation and what have you in order to do it. Well, you say I talk too much. That's what I do. I talk too much. And you talk too much. You don't talk about nothing. You talking about somebody else. I'm telling you about something that's really, really great. I want you to know that we still have time for tickets for tonight. Now, those of you that say, well, I'm going out tonight, I just want to see for myself. I want to shake hands with these pilots. You can do that tonight. What number can they call? Lieutenant Colonel?
And you can call 359-6715 and tell us if you want to come tonight. You can get tickets at the door.
Okay, if you don't come tonight, you're going to really miss something. And David Hall, today is your birthday, and I would like to say happy birthday to you, and you can have a happy birthday by attending that affair tonight. Now, I have some questions that you're going to have to answer. Here, the audience want to hear that story about Eleanor Roosevelt and the black pilots.
In 1941, Eleanor Roosevelt, then the wife of the president, went down to Tuskegee for one appearance as a member of a trustee board. When she was down there, she met Chief Anderson, who was the chief pilot down at Tuskegee. She said, I heard that people say that Negroes cannot fly, colored people cannot fly, but you're flying, and I'd like to go for a ride with you. And so he took her for a ride, much to the dismay of the Secret Service men who didn't want the wife of the president up in the air with a colored man. That's what we were known as in those days. He took her for a ride, and when she came down, she thanked him. She said, I think this is a very wonderful time I've had on it, and you can fly, and I'm going to tell my husband. Less than a month later, the public law, which it started the Tuskegee Airmen, was promulgated and was given to the American people, and we started the Tuskegee experiment. Incidentally, at this time, we should think about Chief Anderson, whose wife died last week, and I think she was buried yesterday down at Tuskegee. He's 80-some years of age. He's still flying. He's still
Wait a minute, he's still flying?
Oh, yes, he's still flying, still teaching, and he is one of the best-known teachers of flying in the history of not only the United States, but the history of the world. And so we'd like to send our condolences out to Chief. I talked to him prior to the time we were going, and he was just saying it was her time to go, and when it's his time to go, he'll go peacefully because he knows he's done whatever he could, and he can trust in the Lord, and he'll go wherever he wants to go.
Well, certainly I trust in the Lord, and I would really do a lot of praying before I got in that airplane with that 80-year-old pilot. In the meantime, we've got to answer these people's questions. Terry Williamson wants to know, how can an individual that wants to be helped get in contact with the association? Okay, that's what Terry wants to know.
Okay, at this time, you can still call 359-6715 and talk to me or my husband, Lieutenant Colonel Sandra Nance or Lieutenant Colonel Gregory Nance, and we will make sure you get a membership application and give you any additional information you need about the chapter or the organization.
Hello, Gloria. Hello.
Oh.
Yes.
How are you this morning?
Gloria, you know I'm fine. I'm telling you, I will not complain here. I'm surrounded by all of these executives, and I want you to tell us, how have you enjoyed the program?
Listen, you have great programs, but this has been one of the most historical. I've been sitting here listening to the program and absorbing all of the history as the other listening audience has. So I've just really, really enjoyed it today. And we want to thank you for having the organization on your show, the most widely listened to radio show in Oklahoma City.
Well, certainly, I would like to thank you. That's the purpose of the Clara Luper radio show, and that's why it's so popular, because Clara Luper brings you the best in entertainment.
Right. I wanted to say one more note about the event tonight. The committee is still working very diligently to tie up quite a few loose ends so that everything will be in order. So we are looking forward to you, along with the rest of our special guests being in attendance. We are finishing the decoration at the Kirkpatrick Center. And I want to say on behalf of the committee chairpersons and co-chairperson, Ms. May Burge and Major Wanda Ewing, along with the rest of us, we are looking so very much forward to everyone being there. And we know that this will be the gala event of the year. That
Of
is not,
course.
it will be the gala of the year.
Okay, then, thank you so very kindly for calling, and
All
I'm
right.
sure that people are really excited about it. That's tonight. And once again, let's go over where it will be held and the time.
It will be held at the Kirkpatrick Center. The address is 2100 Northeast 52nd Street. The reception will begin promptly at 6:30 p.m. And dinner will be served. The program and dinner will start at 7:30. You will need to be there. You will have an opportunity to mingle with the guests and to view the Tuskegee exhibit if you get there in time for the reception. And I might add that it is quite extensive, quite a historical thing that the Kirkpatrick has put together, honoring those men who participated in the Tuskegee experiment. So we will see you all tonight at 6:30 p.m. I will be at the door waiting to greet each and every one of you.
All right, thank you. I think the Tuskegee Airmen are certainly working under the philosophy of Langston Hughes, who wrote a long time ago, someday somebody's going to write about me. Someday somebody's going to talk about me. And looking at the realities of history, he says, it will be me myself. Now, certainly I want to talk about Langston University, because I shall never forget one morning I picked up the newspaper. That was my president of Langston University, and there were men from Langston University that had played a leading role. Which one of you will talk about Langston University and the Tuskegee Airmen experiment?
Well, Langston played a very prominent role in the experiment. They were one of the few traditionally black institutions that participated in the civilian pilot training program. And when I first arrived in Oklahoma, I went to Langston and met Dr. Holloway, and he was all excited about the Tuskegee Airmen, obviously. But what was most interesting is that on the university site, there is still evidence, and he has a collection and a collage of photographs when there was an active airfield there. And it's most people don't know that, but they were very much involved. And as a matter of fact, one of the things that Langston University is going to announce tonight is some participation that they would like to have in the community through the Tuskegee Airmen, through our local chapter. And when we depart here this morning, actually, we're going on a tour of Langston with Dr. Holloway up there. So we're looking forward to that. But Langston has been very prominent in black aviation through the years, and still are. And we look very much toward them for participation in supporting our organization.
But certainly I am proud of Langston University. I'm a graduate of Langston University. And when I graduated from Langston University, I had a time getting a job. My first job was an elevator operator. My daughter Shelley graduated from Langston University, came home at 10:30, 10:30, and that evening at 5:45, she had about 5 offers for jobs, and she took the one in Dallas. And I would like to thank Langston University. And I know people have sent their children all over the United States, and they are still unemployed. Langston University is very concerned about the students, and you look like a graduate of Langston University.
Well, I would love to have been. I'm not, but I
have made that mistake.
Okay, well, I'm looking to get involved with Langston in a lot of projects personally as well as with the organization. But what I wanted to announce here is that tonight, one of the things that we plan to introduce is our annual award to an external party who has made great strides or contribution in aviation in particular, where it involves young people. And various organizations do this around the country, but we, for ours, have chosen Bessie Coleman. Now, the
Bessie
significant...
Coleman, I know Bessie,
Yeah.
who was the first female.
You got it.
I know
Yeah,
Bessie.
you got it. And she was associated with Langston University, and that was the point that I wanted to make. She attended Langston University for a while, and so we were very excited about
Well, that's
all
a
that.
good point because
Yeah.
we have a Langston University graduate on the telephone.
Okay.
Letty?
Yes, how are you, Mrs. Luper? And hello to all the radio audience out there. I've been a little shut in, and I didn't get in last week, but I just had to call and tell you how wonderful this program is. But I heard them talking about they have an exhibition out at the center tonight, and I'm wondering, do you have to have a ticket to come out to see what they have on display? This is the question that I was really wanting to know. And while I'm giving on here, I want to thank all of the people who've been so nice to us during the time of my shut-in days. And I want to do it publicly because it would be impossible for me to write all these letters and thank you cards to the people that have been so gracious and so nice to me during the days of my shut-in. And I'm just so happy that someone is here talking about some of the accomplishments of our people, because I was happened to know one of the fellows who were in the Army and did a fantastic job that I read about, and he never got all of the stars that others received while in battle.
Well, thank you, Letty. How's Mr. Hunter?
Well, Mr. Hunter is a lot better today, and the doctors are talking about letting him come home. So that is wonderful, because they were so surprised. They said they had performed a miracle on Mr. Hunter. And I hope he will be coming home maybe tomorrow or the next day.
Well, thank you, Letty. And a special hello to my friends, Mr. and Mrs. Morris and Mr. and Mrs. Norman, that are here in Oklahoma City from Cincinnati, Ohio. Those of you...
Be sure that I do want to know the exhibition that they have out there at the Kirkpatrick Center. Will it be available for people to see, only those who are coming to the dinner, or can the other people see?
Can you go out later and look at that exhibition?
Yes, this is a regular exhibit at the center. Tonight, however, I think it will be closed just for our group. And obviously, we, with our special guests, will make it something special. So if you could get out tonight, we wish you could do that. But it is a regular exhibit at the center, and it can be viewed at any time or any other time. Thank you.
All right, we would like to invite you to exhibit at the Soul Bazaar Trade and Industry Show that will be held at the Miri Convention on May 5th and 6th. I think that's correct. Those of you that are interested, be sure and let us know. As I look at the clock on the wall, I know there are some things that I must remind you of, and I want to remind you of the inauguration of your governor, and he's your governor now, whether you like it or not, so you might as well like it. And I tell you one thing, Governor Keaton, and he will be on this show because if you remember, he was here during the campaign where we gave all of the candidates an opportunity to come out. And those of you that need some good barbecue, I want you to go down to Circle J. Circle J here in Oklahoma City on North Martin Luther King Avenue. And that's Calvin.
You're absolutely right, because I know where Circle J's is. It's not just on Martin Luther King. It's at 1705 North Martin Luther King. Good, great barbecue. But I've had several senior citizens that have called me back, wanting to have a phone number that they could call. That number,
okay, we have that telephone number.
297-1900. And everybody's been calling, and I want to compliment all of the members of the Pilot Association. Let you know that I'm extremely proud that you're here on the Clara Luper Radio Show, and the response has been fantastic, and I'm looking forward to hearing what happens tonight, and I know that tonight will be a success.
Thank you.
And the number is what?
The number is 359-6715. And as Gloria said earlier, tickets are still available, and they can get them at the door at the Kirkpatrick Center at 6:30.
You've been listening to the Clara Luper Radio Show. It's time now to sign up for Miss Black Oklahoma. You may sign up by calling 424-3949. Those of you that would like for your children to participate in the PAGE program or the Escort program, you may call 424-3949. Now, that PAGE program is a very aristocratic program, and we have a large list of young people from 5 to 17 and 16 that participate in that program. Now, unless you sign up by 9 to 15th, between January the 7th and the 15th, you can forget it for this year, because we do have to save space for our young people from Tulsa, and we have a young lady from Houston that's been here for 5 years, and she wouldn't miss her seat. As I look at the clock on the wall, I want you to remember that I am a black woman, born of America, born of her dreams and her aspirations. I'm a black woman that understands the history of my country. I understand the role that black people have played in the history of this country. I don't believe everything that I hear people saying about black people. I don't believe that God would make people and then have them as inferior people. Let the writer talk about what's in your genes. You tell that writer, I say, as far as I'm concerned, he can go to the Deep Fork River and talk to the crawfish in that river. Yes, I am a black woman, born of America, born of her dreams and her aspirations. And those of you that want to be part of the growth of America, I want you to become involved. I'll see you tonight at the big reception. Don't miss it. I'll see you at the dinner. And most of all, if I see you on the street, and if I speak to you, don't get upset, because you remember my mother trained us how to speak to people and how to be good. So don't blame me. This is Clara Luper saying on behalf of my distinguished guest today, thank you and have a great day. Let's all say goodbye together. Let's go. Goodbye. Bye-bye.
This is AM 1220, KTLV, Midwest City, Oklahoma City.